Hey guys, a little bit of a DIY cabinet painting video here. I've done one before with this product, but we used it in a little bit of a different way. As of right now, my current favorite product for painting cabinets is, you can't even see the label because it's all covered with paint. Isn't that nice? So tidy in our painting, but it's a Behr. It's called urethane alkyd satin enamel. I believe it's, let's see, ideal for doors, trim, molding, cabinetry, walls, and railings. Recommended 2 coats for optimum durability. There she is. This stuff has been awesome. Like, you just use normal paint, non specific cabinet paint, and it just doesn't have the adhesion of like a cabinet paint, I guess, unless you maybe use a primer or something like that. But this stuff, you pay a little bit more for it, but let me tell you, time and money well spent, because that way you're not wasting time and having to repaint or do extra coats or an extra primer coat or anything like that. So I'll show you the cabinets. This is what they look like after 2 coats. It really looks nice, and you can tell it's like an enamel, like, so it's thick, it's got kind of a protective feel to it, so it, once you repaint your cabinets, you feel like they'll, it kind of extends the use for quite a bit. And when we got this, the lady at Home Depot actually tinted it for us, because she said that the white that it comes in sometimes has a little bit of like a pinkish hue, she said, or she said some people sometimes feel that way. So she tinted it to Scott's White. I can show you the label if that helps. But they came out white, like white, a really nice bright white. And what we did to prepare these was we just sanded them down, smoothed them out, got some of the pre little bumps and imperfections off of them. We hand sanded them. We used a palm sander, and then for like the textured parts right here, I went in with a sanding block. Painted one side, 1 coat, let it dry. I think the recommended dry time is like 4 hours, and then put a second coat on. Then let those set for a few days, because like I said, this stuff is thick. It's like an enamel. It's almost has like a polyurethane kind of feel to it. It's a thicker paint. So let it dry for a couple days, then flipped them over and did the same thing on the other sides of the cabinets. And they really turned out nice. That's what they look like. Don't mind the mess around them. Kind of have a makeshift workbench on an old door. But be sure to let these dry for a couple days, because like I said, it's thick. Like, even though we let these dry, I think 3 days before flipping them over and letting them set, listen, you can still tell they got like stuck to the door, the workbench that we painted them on. So you may even want to put something soft down before you flip them, and then that way it doesn't stick to it. This is like a painted door that we're using as our workbench, so it pulled up some of that old paint. We should have put something soft down. We didn't. We've been in a rush, but learn from our mistakes and do that, and just let these puppies dry for a sufficient amount of time, because it's thick paint. It's great quality, high durability paint, but it has a thickness to them. And here are the bases of the cabinets. They look bright white, fresh, nice. And let me show you what I rolled it on with. So of course, just used paint tray. This is the roller I used. It's just a roller for smooth surfaces. It's a smaller one. And then the actual roller itself, I don't know where that went. I think it went to another job site, so I don't have to show you. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Just a paint roller, and this is the roller cover. It's pretty tough. I actually kind of wish it was more like porous to it, because I was having to put so much paint on this roller, like constantly having to re-roll it, redip it, because it's so tough. You know what I'm saying? It's not like porous, so it doesn't hold as much paint at once. And if you don't have enough paint on it, then it kind of left lines, and you'd have to roll out those lines. So this worked. This is what we used to get this look, and it worked. But the last time I used this paint, I used kind of a more porous roller, and I found it worked a little bit better. And then to get in these crevices right here, I just used a good brush from Home Depot. A little bit of an angle to it. And I did the same thing for the cabinet bases. I just rolled it, and then the edging in the corners I did with the brush. So yeah, that's what it turned out like. I'll show you the bottoms. Turned out real nice, real nice. I mean, I should have showed you the before because these babies were looking rough. They had some like damage and bubbling from water because it's a rental unit and people just get water everywhere. Just wear and tear, putting pots and pans back in the cabinets that are still wet or just dirty, used. Oh, stuff is falling. So this just really adds some, I mean, they look new. My boyfriend was like, those cabinets look new. And I was like, good, they should. It took a while. So, I mean, it's definitely a few day process. You know, you got to take off the doors and drawers and fronts. You got to do some sanding. You got to do one coat, wait, second coat, wait a few days for that to dry, flip it, one coat, wait, second coat, wait a few days for that to dry. So it's like a week long process, at least if you're going to do it right. And if you're going to do 2 coats, and if you're going to make sure it has enough dry time so it doesn't mess up what you did, you know what I'm saying? And I did kind of sand out some and smooth out some imperfections between the first and second coat, which helped to give it a better seamless finish. So now all I gotta do is put the hinges back on and the knobs back on and put them up. But that is what I used. This stuff has been awesome. Hopefully you can see enough of the label to recognize it if you're looking for something and you go in the store and get it. Just 1 gallon, and this 1 gallon is almost gone, but I used it on something else as well. I can't remember. We have too many projects, too many jobs going at once. I used it for something else, but get a gallon. I think it only comes in a gallon. So that's your only option. But no, I mean, we used almost a full gallon just on this small cabinet set. So if you have a bigger kitchen, you're probably going to need more. Start with 1, go from there. It's probably the best way to go about it. But if you have any questions, I want to say the product's around $40. A good paintbrush around $10-15. A roller, the roller itself, I don't know, $5. And then the roller cover, I want to say it was like a 3-pack for $4 or $5. And then the paint rolling pan, a couple bucks. So that's the cost of that. And then if you have a hand sander, that helps so much. I mean, you can get a cheap hand sander from Walmart for like $15, I think, or a decent one for $30. So really, I mean, we have a DeWalt that's lasted forever, so it's worth it. Sanding blocks are $1 or $2 each. Sanding pads for $5 for a pack. So that's the cost that you're looking at. And then just your time and sweat. And that's all it takes to have beautiful looking new cabinets. And I know some people will be like, well, why don't you just buy new cabinets? And let me tell you, buying new cabinets is a difficult process too. You gotta measure, you gotta reconfigure or configure or understand the measurements and the configuration enough to know what to order. You gotta order them, you gotta go pick them up, you gotta have a truck or somebody that can help pick them up. You gotta have somebody that can help install because they're big and bulky. It doesn't matter. I mean, strong, whatever, that's great, but it's pretty much a 2-person job, especially if you're doing uppers, because you have to have 1 person holding and then 1 person screwing them in. So it's just as much of a process, in all honesty. And if you can just give some new life to them, it's a pretty good little come up. It's a pretty good little option. We've redone cabinetry, we've refinished cabinetry, we've gotten new cabinetry, and it just kind of depends what your existing looks like and if you can kind of salvage it, if it has life left in it. Even if it doesn't look like it has life left in it, give it a little sand and clean it off, and then make the judgment call of if you want to paint and refinish or if you want to buy some new cabinets. Because sometimes looks can be deceiving. A little sand and clean can give you a whole new perspective on your project. So I hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions about the product that I used or any of the things that I used or the process or anything like that, leave in the comment section below. I hope it helps you guys. Have a good one and happy DIYing.